How's it going, guys? Tyrone, thank you for prompting. I really appreciated your coverage of the material this week, as it was very extensive. So kudos to you on that. And the supplemental reading was very beneficial as well. I decided to go ahead and read it because it is a very interesting and deep topic that I wanted to gain more knowledge on. So again, thank you for covering this and being the first one to have to prompt this and being done by Saturday because that's intense. Um, so the topic is gender identity and sexual orientation, and Tyrone posed the question to us as a student affairs professional. He posed two questions, but the one I'm going with is, as a student affairs professional, how would you assist somebody with a different sexual orientation or a sexual orientation different from the hegemonic and a heterosexual person? And how would you help them get through that and bridge that border and that gap? Now, being from the hegemonic and a heterosexual white male, essentially, it is a little bit of a challenge. I think that students who struggle with this go through different issues and struggles and barriers that I may not personally have experienced. So the way I'm going to answer this is kind of like twofold. First, I'm going to tell you how I've experienced this in the past because it does come up, especially working in housing. You get to really people with first year students. They start experimenting and figuring out who they are and how they fit into the world. And it's really important to be able to be there to be supportive of them. So that being said, this situation has come up a couple of times while I was an RA. Not so much now. I haven't had that experience yet. But I mean, to an extent, actually, I have. But I talked about that person last week, so I'm going to change and go from a different topic. So, in the past, I tried to be very open and accepting of a person for who they are and treat everybody as a very unique person, and I still will contribute that. One of the things I used to do is just talk to them about their experience and try to get an understanding and try to relate the best I could. Now, it's really hard to relate to something that you're not a part of. And the way you relate it is more of a empathetic. I feel for you, and if I can do anything for you or assist you in any way, I will, and I will promise you that anything I do stays confidential between us. It's very important that you do that if you can do that. Now, so in past I would do all that, right? But now there's an added portion because I will still do all that and be very supportive and very helpful and challenge that person to better themselves. But I've learned quite a bit more, especially from that time until now, and I think now is even more beneficial. As student affairs professionals, we are required to do readings, or we should be doing readings. I would assume that people do their readings on articles and stuff on their own free time when they have some, to stay current with trends in higher education and to stay current with the things going on in the world. And this is a topic that people will be approached with in their professional career, as I've already been approached with it numerous times, and I wasn't even a professional yet. So so I guess what I'm saying is we have a wealth of knowledge and education at our fingertips. We need to use that education to better inform the way we guide those conversations. And one of those things that I'm going to take from this is, oh man, I'm blanking the name. It's very Italian. Diastelli. Sure. So one of the things that was brought up was that you that it's not his idea is not a stage. You don't just come out and that's it. You're done. Hooray! Big old parade. You've come out. You're done. That's not how it works. That's not how a lot of things in life work. It's a process. And that's what I'll take to the student who's struggling, or maybe somebody who has revealed that he or she would like to come out, and they came out to me perhaps. I would emphasize that now I know that it's not like hey, you came out, that's it. There's a lot of process that goes into that, and I never really thought about it to that extent. I knew that beforehand that coming out was a big, well, what if people accept me? What if they don't accept me? How do I react? What do the public think? A lot of external thought processing going on there and being taken and internalized. And so I've thought about that, and I kind of understand like that would be major. Like one of your best friends, like you just told them that you're gay, and now they're like whoa, and being rejected. So that there's a lot that goes into that. And I mean, again, that's been thought about. But I didn't really think about what happened afterwards. I thought about it, okay, they came out, they were either accepted or not, in different facets of their life, and then done. And I mean, I'm ashamed to admit that. That's as much thought I actually put into it. And now, with a little bit more forethought and a little bit more education on the subject, yeah, it makes sense that it's a process. It's a lifetime process. You're always going to be striving to. I mean, you are always perpetually coming out. I mean, you have to work with that and become comfortable with that throughout time. It's a virtue, essentially. Coming out, and the way it was described and the way I understand it, it's a virtue. You are always consistently working towards it. It's not a means to an end at all. And so I'll take that, and when I'm talking to a student who is telling me these things, I will try to cover it because this is a very stressful thing. I'm imagining, and the way it is really emotionally straining from what I've seen. For some, I'm sure others didn't have that issue, or maybe they did. Again, I don't know. But from my experience, it's very traumatizing and emotionally stressful for somebody to be like, I don't know if my parents are going to accept me. I personally, if my parents did accept me for who I was, regardless of whatever, it would hurt. It would crush me. And so now thinking about it, I'd be like, well, hey, listen, such and such, once you do this, like you're starting a process, it's going to be a lot of work, but you being comfortable and being happy with who you are is the most important thing. And that, I think, is really important benefit to add towards the conversations you can have. Letting them know that whatever you're experiencing in life right now is not permanent, but the initial shock you have also when you come out is not permanent. It's a spectrum of emotions and spectrum of goals that you go through. So really, you're going to be working towards something your entire life, but it's not necessarily work. It's doing yourself and being who you are, and that makes you happy. I'd be able to acknowledge that there are things that go with that. And also I think that becoming an ally and joining the local group, because Tyrone prefaced that with saying, outside of joining an organization, outside of all that stuff, what would you do in order to help a student? And I still think being an ally and being up on the information and up on the terminology and able to have a personalized, heartfelt conversation with a reassurance that things will be okay, that you have people who care about you and accept you for who you are, and you should never have to hide who you are. You should do whatever makes you happy. I don't care what it is. If it makes you happy and you feel who you are inside is achieved by that, or you're striving to go towards that route, you do it. And having that personal connection with that person like that is really beneficial. And that's how I personally have and will approach it. But I think the biggest thing for me that I'm learning through this class and through this entire program is we have a very wide wealth of knowledge and database in front of us. At any time, the internet, books, and any time I can pull up information on these topics and parse through it and go, okay, this bit of information is relative and new and important, and I can add this bit of information here. And now when I talk to a student, I can, especially with student development theory in this sense, it kind of gives you a good idea of what things may be going through, or what they might think of, and how to challenge their thought process, and how to guide them through the situation. And I think that's the biggest thing. In anything in life, not specific to identity development, perhaps development in general, having somebody there that can mentor you, while it may not be, in this instance, a guy or girl who's gay or transgender, mentoring you, having somebody there as a support system that can mentor you and guide you through the life's challenges is probably one of the most impactful things you can have. And as a student affairs professional, you get to have that opportunity much more often than people in everyday life will. You are constantly in a position where students are at their most vulnerable, stressed, tests. These students are very malleable. This is their first year students are moving through. They're figuring out who they are. Even when they're graduating, they may not still know who they are or where they should be in life. And you and everyone in this cohort has the ability to touch those students and approach them in a manner that you can make an impactful way in their life and mentor them and guide them and be there for them. You may not be able to hold their hand, but you can give them a push in the right direction. And so that's kind of my response, and I'm actually really looking forward to this conversation. I did a lot of reading. I'm kind of tannish right now. You can see a little bit burnt. I read all these articles on Sunday on the front lawn, and it was amazing. The weather was great, so hopefully you guys got to go outside and enjoy that. But I didn't realize how long I was out there, and so yeah. But it was great. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I feel as though this is going to be really in depth, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of contribution, and I'm kind of excited for it. So I look forward to seeing you all in class tomorrow, as I'm late as normal. It's 10:30. I'll be finishing this up to submit this video. So I look forward to seeing you all, and have a great rest of your night. See you guys.